I should have had the music loaded up before I started this. There we go. Yo, what's happening? Back at it again with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. We are here to bring you the long awaited Deadpool and Wolverine recap and review. It just came out earlier this week. Or well no, it's Sunday. So last week it came out. A lot of us went to see it. We might have a couple more people pulling up, but this is what we got right here. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey man, I done watched 10 movies to get to this point. JTL, man, also known as Pennywise, aka the main character.
F Dub.
And I am Black Motherfucking Roots. Man, long awaited, bro. And it was worth it. It was worth it like a motherfucker. We watched a whole bunch of movies to get to this, followed by a whole lot of waiting. Well, first a whole lot of waiting, then we watched a bunch of movies to get to here, but we finally got here, man.
Movie took 6 years to be made, man. And I said, on one of these episodes, I said, if this bitch took 6 years, they can't strike out with this motherfucker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe that happened.
What was the stat again for the opening week?
What is it? It's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. I think they said it was like 438.3 million just in the first weekend. So they didn't put up some numbers with that bitch, man. And that's and that's in 2-3 days, bro. That's incredible. I don't know what the budget was, but that's a hell of a stat line.
Hell yeah, man. Just a general summary, not summary, just what did y'all think about the movie as a whole?
I'll let F-Dub go first.
Oh, all right, we got you. What did I think about the movie?
Damn, bro, open your hands.
Ashy ass palms.
So I thought I came into this movie pretty blind. You feel me? I didn't watch no trailers, no nothing. You feel me? I knew that
you ain't been watching the crash courses with us.
No, I skipped the line like a cool kid. But I knew that Hugh Jackman was gonna be in this movie. You feel me? I didn't know what version of Wolverine was gonna be in this. But I was pleasantly surprised by the film. I was laughing my ass off every chance I had, every chance that a joke was being thrown out there. I was very, very, very impressed by the fight scenes. Top tier, S tier, God tier, all that. Most definitely. Like, it did not disappoint. Even to the villain, to the selection of the villain that they chose for this film, even to the surprise appearance, which we will most definitely talk about. I was not unsatisfied. I'll say that. I love the movie. I really, really love the movie, and I think it brought Marvel back on the map. because they've been striking out. Let's be honest.
Had it been, the Marvels was alright to me. I wouldn't consider that a strikeout. That was the last one I seen. And then we even with the shows and stuff that led up to this, Loki was fire. But this is levels above that, and I expected that because it's Deadpool. Deadpool kind of upped everything whenever the first one came out, and the second one did even better. So I mean, I expected it to be good. I did not expect it to be this good. I'm so very glad that I went with like a gang of people. Like it was four of us in there.
Same here.
Surrounded by white people mostly, and we was cracking the fuck up, bro. Like loud ass family reunion laughing. That shit, bro. Him doing the entire dance to "Bye Bye Bye" is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen, bro. And I know
Still
he did that.
smoking
I know
folks
he
while he
did that
doing
off
it.
the dome, bro. I know he did up off the dome. Funny as hell, bro.
That
Him
motherfucker
going,
was out there
go.
smoking folks while he was dancing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Bro, that shit was so
hitting,
damn fire, bro.
hitting folks with a damn skeleton and shit.
But
Me
oh
personally,
yeah, go ahead.
I think that this was a high quality movie, man. I'll get into the things that I felt about the actual movie, like within the review. But I think that there were a lot of good things about it. I think there were some bad things, that I'll
Mm,
address. But I think that altogether, they had to bring it home and stick the landing and whatnot. And I
mm.
think that they rounded out their trilogy very nicely with this one. You
Well,
know.
I'm interested in what you didn't like about it, or what missed.
Well, okay. So first things first. Okay, before we start this, spoiler alert to anybody that's listening, you know what I'm saying? We're going to spoil the fuck out the movie.
Hell
Y'all go
yeah.
like, comment, subscribe if you ain't already. You know what I'm saying? And go
Oh, hold on,
back and watch all the Crash Course movies that we watched leading up to this. We went through all the X-Men shit, went through the Deadpool joints.
hold on,
You
hold on,
know?
KTL. Hold on, real quick before you get in there, and say your piece about the what you didn't like about the movie. If you're watching this, if you're watching this, right? Obviously, we're assuming you watched the movie. So if you haven't watched the film, do not continue on with the live broadcast that we are doing right now. Please,
I don't
do
know,
yourself
man. Some
do
people like
yourself a
art.
favor.
They watch
Yeah,
videos,
some people
spoiling
like
the
art.
whole
Just
thing
go and
for
watch it.
All
themselves
right. Well,
and shit.
don't be respect to
Don't
Art.
be
That's my
like
brother.
art.
But don't be like Art. Don't be a weirdo like Art. I did not agree with all that he said. But anyways, please do yourself a service and watch this movie. All right, go ahead, K2.
But okay, so one thing, Roots, that I thought like could I'm gonna be honest, out of like the three movies, I think that this was the most scattered and like weakest structured plot of the three,
Mm,
in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think that like they because they're going doing some extra dimensional shit, and I think they're really relying on the characters to carry the story, and I
mm,
think that's like what happened. But I do think that like I was more excited about seeing who was in this movie, what I'm
mm.
saying, than I was like sitting there like watching the growth of characters and the like wondering how they were going to achieve their goals and whatnot. Like the fight scenes and the characters, like the actors and characters themselves are what carried it instead of the plot, in my opinion. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I didn't not like what I was presented. Um, it's a Deadpool movie. It's a Deadpool movie. It because of how they set it up. I knew it was going to be a lot of people in here. I knew that a lot of the jokes were going to be, oh, this person is from this. This person is from
Mm-hmm.
this. Like I fully expected that. Um, and I feel like, yeah, they did rely on that to carry it, but I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it at all. That's
Uh,
kind of what that's kind of what the comic books are. You know, the Deadpool comics are. are very loose with the story. You know, it can go in any direction, and
I
it's
just
not
felt
necessarily to get to us to a point at the end. It's more so just the journey to get there. You know what I'm saying?
but that's the thing. I just felt like the first two movies were more about like, I'm interested in the story that Deadpool is, involved in, and about him like this. Okay, so for example, the second movie felt like they were bringing in cool characters, what I'm saying, like a few cool characters in order to continue telling a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Here it felt like they brought in even more cool characters and actors and whatnot, but they sacrificed some of the story to do so, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like it and Ryan Reynolds, I'll say this out, out front. Ryan Reynolds is phenomenal as he, tends to be as Deadpool. But in this movie, it almost felt like he took like one step back in terms of
Mm.
like letting other people, carry the movie. Like it almost felt like he was a passenger in his own story this time around. Like he had a
Yeah.
couple of his own motivations and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But he was at the very least equal to, if not, slightly a step behind Wolverine as the main, focal point of things here.
Mhm.
And then you get to all the other people that pop up, and their differing stories and lore and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And it felt like Deadpool was like taking us on a tour rather than like telling us his story. You know what I mean?
Mm. Well, there are a few different comics like that where he just kind of seems like he's like a mosquito, an unknown mosquito. Like you don't know where he is until you see him, and he's there. He says some shit, and then he just kind of pops back out. Pause, and he's just drifting. You know, he's just kind of drifting. You know, he's a side character in everybody else's story that are a main character in his, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I liked it because I've seen him like this before in other shit. I can understand why they did it that way.
Yeah,
But
and then another thing I wasn't a fan of was there was the casting of one of the other characters. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. I wasn't really feeling it.
what's up? Who was it?
Which one?
Uh,
Wesley?
no, Gambit. I
What?
Oh,
wasn't I wasn't
what?
feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. Like I think Gambit, like the character, like the fights
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff was cool. But I think that
That's fact.
like the the portrayal, like, his dialogue, and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, like just seeing, Channing Tatum as fucking Gambit and shit. Like I think that he just like came across as like a dork. Like he was a lame. You know what I'm saying? And like part of it was by design. They were doing that shit where like they were doing the little fake ass. Like I be in Louisiana all the time. I was born in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I know what these motherfuckers sound like. So I get,
Right.
they were making fun of the accent, but it don't sound like that. You know?
Nah, there
So,
was a couple of times where he sounded like he was trying to do an Italian accent. Like that
so
Uh,
shit was kind of cool, kind
just
of crazy, a little
quick.
bit.
So my fault to cut you off. Quick, small little trivia that's relevant to what the Channing Tatum casting. So like there was already reports that he was gonna be Gambit for a long ass
Right.
time. He was supposed to have his movie filmed and
mm-hmm.
done and all that, like all the
Not
way
too
back in
long after X-Men Origins.
yeah, like I'm talking like 2014, 2015 time frame. Unfortunately, the movie stayed stuck in development hell, you feel me, where either directors kept dropping or he himself had to drop from the project, you feel me. So like we were gonna get Channing Tatum as Gambit regardless, you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
I
um
personally am glad that that didn't happen. But
uh I mean he's in this he in a sense he's
well,
in
yeah, I
the
mean, I guess it
universe
did
now,
happen,
so
but you know what I
yeah.
mean.
Well, I mean, I like the way they did it. Even there was a couple of jokes. He was like, "Yeah, I want people to what was he saying? I want people saying my name." It was like, "Are you sure that it's not just that you wanted people
Wanted
and it
them to
didn't
say
happen?
it, you know.
Wanted them to say it, but it didn't happen." Like that's just funny as hell.
And that motherfucker, like, they were doing jokes about, like, what I'm saying, oh, they, some people, they forgot about us. And, like, he was like, oh, they never got a chance to meet us in the first place. Some shit like that. You know? Like,
Yeah, man. The dialogue between different characters. Like another one, Chris Evans, but thinking that Chris Evans is here
Was
as
Captain
Captain America,
America.
but it's actually Johnny Storm.
Storm,
That
yeah.
Funny
was
as
that was
hell.
fire. That was fire though. I'm not gonna hold you. Seeing Chris Evans back in the MCU, that was dope, man. I'm not
We
gonna
got
lie
to.
to you.
And,
I
I
think
fanned
that
out for
just
sure.
that whole like sequence was like kind of cool and shit. You got to see the old Toad and Sabretooth and
yeah,
Pyro and shit. You know what I'm
And Lady
saying?
Death and all that. Yeah.
Like you got to see like all that, but Sabretooth got cooked, boy.
like a
That
motherfucker.
Sabretooth
In
shit
five
wasn't no
seconds,
shit,
bro.
boy.
In 5 seconds. I like
I've
how
definitely always thought that, like, you know what I'm saying? I remember X-Men Origins, that Sabretooth wasn't playing around with Wolverine.
oh
You know
no,
what
Oh,
I'm
not
he
at
was
all.
saying?
cold.
This one right here,
Nah,
like he wasn't on shit.
not at all.
Yeah, no.
but
To
I'm
go to Wolverine, talk about the fight scenes real quick. This is the best moving Wolverine I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The fight sequence, the first like big fight between them two is
Mm-hmm.
so fire. It pop off so fire with him doing the fucking I don't the Wolverine crawl or whatever it is. Like that shit looks so
Yeah,
dope,
that
and
motherfucker really
it
just turned
doesn't
into
look
an
super
animal and shit.
CGI.
Mm-hmm.
I fully expected that to look extremely CGI, and it didn't. It looked very natural.
They did
Uh,
a lot of great things with Wolverine in this movie, just gradually over time that
Most
people
definitely.
wanted from Wolverine in all like six of those movies. You know what I'm saying? Like they gave him, the regular battle stance. They gave him the suit. You know what I'm saying? Later on,
the
they give him
mask
the little
eventually.
cowl and shit.
hmm
He they give him like all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? They did a lot of a lot of good for Hugh Jackman in this movie.
Yeah, no,
I
he
feel like.
he 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 owned the role, man, like he always does, man. And yeah, no, this was like damn near like I don't want to say career high performance, right? Because I think he's always at his best. But this was top tier for real. This is god tier. That's what that was for real, for real.
And then seeing him in the different versions of Wolverine, which
Hmm.
what might I add are all real versions of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like
Yep, yep,
none of that was made up.
yep.
Even if it was
Hmm.
to the fan, I forget what was it, Calverine, whatever it was. Like that was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fan made. That was a fan made version because they were hinting at after Hugh
Which
Jackman was like,
scene
I
you
don't want to do
talking
this shit
about?
no more.
Lights out.
You probably talking about the big fight scene.
Why the fuck he ain't up here doing the
Yeah, I
review?
was about to say he could just like pull up, you know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Like a regular person.
whatever. But
Uh, but
Even
seeing Wolverine and
they put
those
the little
different
midget ass Wolverine and shit in
oh
the
yeah,
bar
yeah,
and
yeah,
which
a good
that was
reference.
actually accurate to
to
how
the
tall he
comics.
is in the comics
Hmm.
and the cartoon. Like he's actually
Hmm.
really that short.
Yeah,
And then, fun fact, when he was time traveling and all that, and he saw the Wolverine on the cross,
on the cross.
yeah,
Lunas Magunas.
that's actually based off one of the X-Men covers. So that's where they got that idea, in case anyone was confused. But that was dope, man. That was dope. All the accuracy with all the appearances from
They
all the
had
different
Henry
Wolverines.
Cavill Wolverine.
Calverine,
Hmm.
that was funny as shit, man.
Well, since we're doing the different versions of people,
Oh,
the
they even had my fault. They even had
not
old
good.
man Wolverine as well in that bitch. That was
Fire,
dope as
also
hell,
They had
man.
fire.
what?
They had old
Old
man
man Logan.
Wolverine.
Oh
So it was
yeah,
old man
yeah. He
Logan.
was
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
on
I'm
on
sorry,
his
old man.
rocking chair with a gun and shit.
Yeah, yeah, man. That was dope as hell, man.
So Lifestyle was talking about the Chris Evans scene. Yeah, no, that was definitely fire. Like he then Deadpool like building it up. He's like, he's gonna say it, and then he just says, flame on. And he's
He
like,
said,
what
"What
the
the fuck?" Like
fuck? Nah, this shit
they
was funny as hell, bro.
they cooked that boy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh no, they made him look like a hoe, man.
Nah,
Like
he
Yo,
I'm
just
like,
yo,
kept
can
getting
you hear me
hold.
too? Y'all can hear
That
me?
motherfucker was
Yo, we hear you,
talking.
Lunas.
Let's go.
what up,
That
boss
What's the
less?
motherfucker
word?
was talking crazy about that bitch. Then she just snatched the skin off that motherfucker, man.
How far ahead? Y'all going in order? Y'all just saying shit about the movie right now?
Nah, we just
Yeah.
saying shit about the movie. You got something?
Yeah. First of all, bro, I didn't watch none of the other fucking Deadpool shits before this. I
Okay.
did not watch none of the other
Was there a
ones.
reason for that?
Well, the only reason I know Deadpool is because he was in the fighting game. He was in Marvel vs. Capcom and shit. He got a
Right.
certain way that he act and shit, you know, and he like a funny man and shit. And a lot of the shit that he done in the movie, like they captured that in the game and shit. But basically, when I was going into the movie, I thought that it was gonna be kind of serious, like Guardians of the Galaxy type. Like it was actually like kind of lore, whatever else. But because I didn't watch the trailers or nothing, but when I came
Mm.
and I started watching this shit, the shit from the very first second was like mad comedy, like mad funny. Like
Fact.
the niggas
Mm-hmm.
was really just playing around with that shit. And no funny though, like this, it's a lot of shit, but no funny though. I gave this shit a 9 when I walked out the goddamn out the theater. Like I was telling
Mm-hmm.
my
That's
homies
fire.
who I was with
For
and
you to
shit. I was
not
like,
see anything previously, I think that's super fire, and that's just telling how good the movie was.
yeah, I don't
Wait,
know if
I
You
y'all
know, for
will
y'all
somebody
was
say
that
I
doesn't
focused
know
Gino,
wanted
what?
anything
to
about it.
one thing I
Gino,
wanted to bring up is that I was gonna if Slim was here I was gonna talk to him about it too. But Roots, I feel like for me personally, like that we watched all these other movies like recently.
Mm.
I think that shit enhanced my experience with this movie a lot. Like you know what I'm saying? I like
Oh, doing the
feel
crash
like
course.
yeah, like getting to watch all the Wolverine and Deadpool joints before this, I think that shit enhanced like my enjoyment of the movie and seeing like the portrayals of Deadpool and Wolverine in this hoe. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? More than like if I would have just gone into this bitch, I'm not blind, but like foggy memory kind of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
You
of the
know,
Marvel movies, what they do good is that they have a good blend of all kinds of movie, like all kinds of like genre appeal. So there's
Mm-hmm.
drama and there's
Lights Out said
funny,
it's the
and
best movie he ever seen. My bad, Bob.
that's insane. But we'll talk about it. I think that this movie had like dope ass action and shit. Well, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hmm. You know what? They had action, they had drama, they had comedy and shit, like all
Mm-hmm.
kind of packed together,
They
and they
had a
did
lot
the
of great
balance.
fan service too to reward the fans like of this shit. Like, yo, if you was,
Um,
Most definitely.
back watching, like if you was watching Blade, you know what I'm saying, in the 2000s and shit, you know what I'm saying? If you like watched the Elektra movie and shit, like they got shit for you,
I think
you
if
know
you
what I'm
read the
saying?
comics, you had a lot
Speaking
too. I
of
mean,
Electra,
putting
she
Gambit
is
in there
still
was
bad as
insane.
hell.
I
Just
don't
want to
think
say that
I think that was from the old shit. I don't think that was even her now. She is still bad as hell, but I think that might have
she's
been her
still bad
originally.
as a bitch. What?
Son,
That
I'm
shit
telling you, when
fire.
I forgot her actress's
I
name.
popped off. Like people in the
I
audience
can't
was
remember
like,
either fireworks.
people in the
Go ahead,
audience
Luna.
was cheering every time like these niggas
Like new
appeared
people
and
popped
shit.
up.
Yeah,
Bro,
like
me
when
as well.
Shorty popped up like blocked the nigga attack with the sword and shit.
Mm-hmm.
When she went down there, niggas started cheering. When they saw Blade, niggas started screaming in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
bro. Like, and then with Gambit, a couple of I popped off and a couple of other people popped off or whatever because I don't know if Gambit's really been in a movie before, but I
He
know
hasn't.
He
Well,
was
I
in
he
mean, he
Origins
has,
he
but he
Wolverine.
hasn't.
has his character has, but he like
Not
this Channing
Channing
Tatum
Tatum.
one was supposed to come out like we spoke about this earlier. It was supposed to come out like somewhere around like 2014, 2015, but it just
yeah.
kept having complications with the development of the movie.
But
I
we
However,
know
know.
about
seeing the
Gambit, and he was in
reaction,
the for a
go
PlayStation
ahead, go
One.
ahead.
He was in the original Marvel vs. Capcom, the
That's a
very
fact.
first one.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a very exaggerated like, "Come on, mon ami," like a very like a goddamn
Yeah, he's
like
French Cajun as fuck.
yeah. And they made him sound kind of like a Jersey Guido, kind of like a tool, like talking mad reckless and shit. And I love that shit, bro. Nigga was mad funny, bro.
Bro,
I know in
so
my
so
theater,
for
all the
you,
fucking all the jokes were landing in my theater. I was sitting
oh yeah,
between. There was a woman on each side of me, but they was cracking up at them jokes.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
without a
you know
doubt.
she
what?
was funny as hell.
I like the humor in this better than I like the humor in Suicide Squad. I thought Suicide Squad,
Hmm.
it was kind of like toilet talk. It was very like raunchy and shit, but it was very like Telegraph, very Seth MacFarlane, kind of like like this is where the joke goes, kind of deal. But with
Yeah,
this one, I felt like the characters themselves just really embodied the silliness and mutual interaction between them was
It's
just
probably
so
got a good bit
retarded.
of improv in it.
I think so. Yo, I feel there were certain times where I was watching and I could swear Hugh Jackman couldn't was like about to start laughing because he was letting
Yeah,
this nigga talk. Like he's supposed to act annoyed, but I could tell he was about to start laughing. You feel me? And they probably just
especially I
left it
know
in.
specifically at the end when like they go and he meets Blind Hal and shit. You know that
Yeah,
that motherfucker like is definitely in the background, like like trying not to crack up laughing when Deadpool talking about that ugly ass dog tongue and shit.
Hey, he nasty for letting
Yeah.
that dog lick all in his mouth and
Oh
shit
yeah,
too.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like somebody needs to put that dog out its misery. I said it before. I seen it
Speaking
now.
of what is it? Dog pool. Speaking of dog pool and all the other Deadpools, we can kind of go through some of them. So from the research that I did and
Damn,
some of the
motherfuckers hate Ryan Reynolds. Crazy.
yeah, y'all can stop that. But so I don't remember. This one right here is these are all ones that popped up in the movie, and I didn't get a chance to do like find all of them, but they did a very good job of depicting the what is it, the Deadpool core, which is
I
like
want to know
all
who
of the
played Lady
Deadpools.
Deadpool.
His wife,
I couldn't
right?
find that.
His wife,
Oh,
his wife,
really?
his
Blake,
wife.
That's
isn't he married
fire.
to Blake
Yes,
Lively?
yes, his wife, and then his sons actually played the small little toddlers that you see in the movie as well.
So baby pool and kid
Kid
pool,
Pool.
Yeah, yeah. So that
kid pool
was
right
Um,
here.
that
that
was
the
dope.
another thing I wanted to touch on too was the clear, kind of jabs at Fox all throughout the movie.
Oh
Kind of
no,
just
Oh,
he got
nigga, bro. Soon as
bro,
he got the green light, nigga went and said, "Fuck off."
Fuck
Headbutted the
off,
camera and
Fox.
everything.
on site, bro, on site, like every single fucking minute,
Well,
bro.
that's
Oh my
because
god.
they got bought out at this point. They ain't shit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because I think my boy was explaining to me. He told me that basically Fox had the rights to Maul for a long time, and because of that,
Mm,
a lot of releases and shit wasn't happening and shit. Like the fans wasn't
right.
getting what they want because Fox was holding it back. So I guess with this movie, they was like, "Ha, suck it," like literally, like you know what I'm saying, like take
Well,
it.
I don't
Listen
know
to
if
it.
you remember, Luno, but like there was like a few years ago, and they referenced it in the movie because like they had some issues getting clearance of like rights to names and shit. They did
Yeah,
that shit with Deadpool. They did that shit with Spider Man. They had
hmm
like a few of them joints that they was like struggling to get cleared because it was a big fucking legal battle and shit. So
and I also
realistically
think,
speaking, this
yeah.
movie probably shouldn't like it probably didn't need to take 6 years for this movie to come out.
And I
You know
think
what
it
I'm
also
saying?
validates like a little bit of the concerns I hear from like diehard Marvel fans that was feeling like a lot of the movies that was coming out was feeling very copy paste, that they didn't do
hmm
much to break out from prior titles, and so I guess maybe that's also a part of it too. But you know,
So
So I'm
backtracking
a
to what
I'm
you
a
just said, KTO,
okay.
my fault, Roots. Backtracking to what you said, KTO, you said that it probably didn't need to take long for this film to come out.
Hmm.
Correct, but I'm glad that it did
Yeah, I think
because
it made it better.
yeah, most
Probably.
definitely. It would that version that we in a different universe that we would have gotten, right? It wouldn't have been as impactful as what we got today on present day, you know what I'm saying? So, and they would have
Speaking
fucked
of
it up.
the development, so I like to watch like little interviews and shit like that. So was one that both Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds did together on Hot Ones. I don't know if y'all know what that is. That's
I
Yeah,
saw
the
that
the
being
where they
wings
made
shot,
like
advertised
the
to
yeah.
hot
me
wings
Yeah,
and shit.
yesterday.
on
I wanted to
yeah,
complex.
yeah,
watch
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so there was actually something that Ryan Reynolds put out saying that originally he wanted this to like be a because they were talking about leaks and whatnot, right? So originally he wanted this to be like a completely different rollout. It was going to be
Yeah,
the rollout of a completely different movie. It
Yeah,
was
they
going to
had
be
it. They had a different name and shit to keep it under the
yeah,
radar and
it was
everything.
like what was it?
I
Okay, so
can't remember, but I read about it.
the concept of the movie was it was two cops, but they share a brain. And
Yeah.
so so they were gonna do like trailers for that, and like the first 2 minutes was gonna be that,
Hmm.
and then it switches to like the screen, and oh, you see Deadpool, Wolverine, and then that's when the movie like really starts and picks up.
Hmm. Hey, Luno.
yeah.
So, what did you think of Hugh Jackman in this movie?
I think that he played like a dualistic role. Like he had funny cracks, wise cracks, but also like they really wrote him with some pain. They gave you some good exposition on how the one from his world or whatever wasn't really shit, and it really ate at him, and he made mistakes and shit, and like you could really feel it. Like that's why I was saying
He
earlier.
was
Like
definitely the straight man in this movie in terms of comedy. You know.
Right.
yeah, yeah, for sure, and yeah, he didn't break his character at all. Like he was never like too over the top to break the believability. He really was, for all intents and purposes, like an angry drunk. And man, when they were in the diner and this nigga was in there, and he's like, "What you looking for?" And he come with the rubbing
Drinking
alcohol.
rubbing alcohol.
Yo, yo, man, I
He said, "You
was
probably shouldn't
dying.
drink that." Oh, never mind. Fuck those kittens.
Hey, hey, that motherfucker, like, you know what I'm saying? That bitch took him, you know, he went and tried to stab that hoe. That bitch threw him under some dirt and threw him across the field and shit. You know what I'm saying? She doing that weird, disgusting shit where she put her hand in a motherfucker face on
Yeah, this
Deadpool and
shit right
shit.
here.
And
Yo,
Buddy just pulled like Wolverine just pull up pissed off and stabbed that hoe and lift that bitch in the air, man.
yeah, my boy, he posted on Twitter. After we went to see it, he put on Twitter, "Hell hath no fury like a bald bitch."
Yep.
Facts.
Bro,
No, for
that
real, bro.
that specific
Ball,
like
ball bitches be like really wild in the movies, bro.
bro, that visual right there was fucking like disgusting. The way that shit
It
happened
was,
on like multiple
bro.
people.
It was
That bitch is
brolic.
out there using a motherfucker inside of their face as a glove and shit.
Even
That shit
even
is
the
gross.
dialogue for her, where she set it up, she was like, "Well, Charles doesn't have to, you know, physically enter a person's mind to read what
Mm-hmm.
they're saying. Well, I have to get
Just
my
gotta get
hands
hands
dirty." And
dirty.
she
Yep.
fucking dug her fucking whole palm in the back of this nigga head and out the front. She did
Bro,
this to multiple people.
that
No,
shit
she
is
was
gross, yo.
she was definitely wilding out, man.
Expand more on what y'all think about her as the main villain of the movie.
I
I
was
think
familiar with this character before the movie came out. You know, like albeit briefly, you know what I'm
Yeah, go
saying?
ahead. Go ahead and go
But
through it real quick.
I think that well, I'm saying like I you know I was familiar with the fact that yeah like you know Charles Xavier had a twin or whatever you know assumed to have died in the womb and shit you know but actually comes back as like this powerful fucking telepath in their own right and whatnot you know so I like I say I didn't know that you know they had to tell me who the character was on screen. It's not like I saw it and said
Mm,
oh I know who that is. No, but
mm.
like you know I was kind of familiar with what the fuck this bitch did, but like Luno is right to an extent. Like this is just a fucking diabolical, bald-headed scallywag, man. Like this,
Yeah,
Scallywag is
and
crazy.
also I think she's one of those characters, one of those antagonists, like kind of like what's that nigga name? That's Gravik from Secret.
From Secret Invasion,
Yeah, I felt like it was like a badass villain that like anytime they're on the screen, you know shit is about to get fucked up, you know what I'm saying? So they
right?
had her like really sell these moments. Like the first meeting was so funny how then they go saying all the shit that they talked or whatever, all the shit
Oh
he
my
talked
god,
and
funny
then
as
she
he just
just
fuck.
pulled the skin off, buddy.
yo
Man,
and
rest
by
in
the way
peace.
for at the end of the movie, if y'all watch through the credits, because we stayed in the
Hmm
theater. Oh
He
yeah, my
says, "I'm
dude
sick of
Deadpool
all
said
this bullshit. They're saying that I lied and got Johnny killed. All right, fuckers, let's watch the
Pop the
tape."
tape in.
that shit had me weak, bro. And to top it off, that nigga said way more than what that nigga said. Like he
Hell
had me
Yeah,
yeah.
nah,
like,
that nigga was talking crazy.
Man, Buddy said a whole bunch of wild shit. He ain't even mentioned the fact that that motherfucker said he wouldn't be happy till he was pissing on the burnt corpse of that bitch and char fucking the remains while he was gargling Juggernaut's juggernaut. Like, and I you know they did that shit. Like as I'm leaving the theater, I heard like somebody you know out there like on the way out was saying, yeah, and then we stayed for that post credit sequence. I've never heard Chris Evans use such foul language. I was like,
yeah. So the only
hell
thing I
yeah,
was
that
gonna
shit
say
happened for real.
The only thing I was gonna say about the movie is that I think it was maybe 75% comedy and then the
Mm,
rest everything else. Even though I think they did everything right, 75% was probably the comedic relief. The comedy really is what I think made this movie enjoyable all throughout because it's one thing when there's like big stakes and a huge plot, but then most of the movie I'm not sitting there watching boring dialogue with a typical Marvel movie, and I think they did that intentionally. They said, "Nah, we about
mm.
to get lit." Like every single second, like they saying something and it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it made
I
it so,
mean,
you know.
let's be honest. You know, Roots, you being the Lethal Weapon fan and shit. This is
Mm.
a buddy cop movie.
Most
You know what I'm
definitely, and
saying?
they
It's
mentioned
just
that
a super
in the
powered
interviews
buddy
that I
cop
watched.
movie.
Yeah,
You
they
know.
mentioned that in the interviews that I watched, where this is pretty much 48 Hours or Lethal Weapon or
This
any
is
type of
Rush
cop movie
Hour.
that you've seen.
This
Right,
is
Rush
Rush
Hour, like
Hour, but them fuckers can't die. Like,
Yeah.
right, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that makes even adding that of their connection behind the scenes of, or not behind the scenes, but like behind the story, like the backstory
the
of
Weapon X shit,
uh the Weapon X project, and then them being
them
such
being
close
Canadian.
friends. Right. Even them being such close friends, outside of the movie, it definitely portrayed itself on scene to where they could portray that Wolverine really hates Deadpool. He really annoyed by this nigga at every
Bro,
point that he could possibly be annoyed.
he got on Deadpool ass in that car. Boy, I'm
In that
not talking
Odyssey,
about the
bro.
fight neither. I'm not talking about the fight. I'm talking
Bro, he
about he
wild on that
started
nigga.
smoking Buddy. He got pissed off because he felt like Buddy lied to him. He told him a bunch of shit. He was like, "How you gonna save the world? You couldn't even save a relationship with a fucking stripper." He said, "I wouldn't say that you." He said, "I would say you die alone, but it's the greatest joke that God ever pulled that you can't fucking die. Except for the joke is on everyone else that is around you and shit." Like,
Bro, the
he
nigga was
was.
so upset. He didn't even yell, "I'm gonna fight you now."
He says, "Yeah."
And then
He says,
socked that nigga straight in the nose.
and his nose started bleeding. He got pissed. He's like, "Oh yeah," like
Nah,
that
that
motherfucker.
fight scene, I don't think I've ever seen a fight scene that funny and good. Like the only one I can think of a fight scene in a car is, I want to say, Equalizer 2 or 3, where Denzel has the fight with the dude in the car or whatever. But like this, after first of all, they shit on the fucking Odyssey the
Yeah, on
entire
the
fucking movie.
Odyssey.
That shit was hilarious. But for them to like, they fucked that shit up, bro. And
And
then
then
they
he was out
they
there
fight for so long.
every once in a while he's out there with the baby knife, like the fucking thing just kept coming back. Like,
But they fight for so long that they just fucking give up and pass out.
yeah, I'm
Fucking
like, he got
Deadpool is
Deadpool
wrapped up
wrapped
in
up in a
seatbelts and
million
shit.
seat belts.
Now, what y'all think of like the the little fucking Thor references that Deadpool kept making every time
Yeah,
he
every
either was
time he
like
passes out and
unconscious
wakes
or
up,
Yeah,
whatever?
Thor
the God
cried.
of Thunder. Like,
God of Thunder, bro. I'm like, bro. Oh
tell me
man,
why
but
was Thor crying? Like,
Bro said he Marvel Jesus, bro.
oh
yeah,
my
and that's the other
god,
thing. He
bro.
kept calling himself Marvel Jesus throughout that bitch. He says, or MJ if you're feeling spicy. Like,
If you Another
Nah,
pop culture reference. That's actually I forget what the name of the song is called, but it's a Michael not a Janet Jackson song that starts like that. It's like Miss, what is it, Miss Janet or Miss Jackson if you're nasty or some shit like that.
mm-hmm. Hey, that
But
and then like I appreciate the motherfucker was sitting there. He said some shit, whatever, whoever he was talking to, I can't remember, but he was talking about. He was like, yeah, I'm Deadpool. This is my friend Logan. He was dead. He said Fox killed him, but Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
till he's
90s.
Like,
90.
and then later on they said something.
It
It
was
sounds
like,
like
till you're
it sounds like if
90,
you just
motherfucker.
started. Yeah, they're like, it sounds like your work is just started. He says, till you're 90. Like, and then he was
But
on, pause this next part because it might sound crazy. I don't know how old Hugh Jackman is in this movie, but that motherfucker was sitting there. He was like, yeah, he was like, he's finally wearing the suit. He's not fighting with his shirt off because like in the divorce, he really let himself go or some shit. Like, that motherfucker. But then like later on in the movie and shit,
He's
like
like jacked
they
up.
got shocked and shit, and he's like ripped than a bitch. You know what I'm saying? And he hands
Yeah,
him a jacket. He's like, here, you fucking disgusting slut or some shit. Like,
yeah. There
Let's
was
talk
some
about
talk.
that scene real quick. The
Yeah,
the just the coming together of everything Deadpool and everything Wolverine in this final scene where you think this is gonna be the end of both of them, and they do the whole "my life flashed before my eyes," where you see
mm-hmm.
old Deadpool shit, you see old Wolverine shit. That shit was so fire, bro.
word.
So fucking fire. And they are the ultimate connection between, the Marvel that we've been seeing and the what Marvel is going into, for the coming future.
And
So I
Yeah,
fucked with that a
Deadpool
lot.
tried to he was trying to do the noble sacrifice thing. So it looks like he's gonna try to like connect them bitches himself. But like part way through the scene, I'm watching and I'm thinking, I'm like, wow. I'm like, what if this motherfucker like ends up breaking that door down and he ends up like connecting with him to the other shit, and then they did it. I was like, yeah, yeah, that was clean as fuck.
Before that though, when
Yeah, I
Deadpool
was just about to say before that. Go
before that
ahead.
all the little shenanigans he was doing, the whole walking
Hey,
downstairs
shout
shit,
out to Roach
that had
812.
me fucking weak. That had me fucking
Yo,
weak,
he's
bro.
doing the fucking Superman shit. He's doing the walk down the stairs shit.
Shout out to
Hold on. He
shout out.
smacked him with a fire hydrant. Let's not forget that. He
Hell
told him,
yeah.
"Yeah, man, go ahead." They have this whole heartfelt moment. It's like, I'm glad it could be you." And Wolverine's like, "Go say hi
He
to your
says
family for me." All
you're the
this shit.
best Wolverine. Like,
Yeah, all this heartfelt shit, and then he spin around and smack this nigga in the face with a fire hydrant, throw him out the room, and close the door.
hey, shout out to Roach 812, man, in the comments. Imagine Wolverine bumping into Star Lord, Secret Wars. Hell yeah, that might be crazy.
Yo,
Oh
I'm
no,
mad when they survived that shit. These niggas,
Pause,
these
Pause,
bro.
what I
Pause
say.
before I say this shit too. When dude was fitting, well,
Oh yeah,
oh
Deadpool
yeah,
for
Polo.
no,
his
that
suit.
was
Oh
yeah, no.
yeah,
Cause
dog.
he wasn't even just slapping his ass, bro. He was grabbing his
that's a
shit
fact,
too.
yo. He was
Cause he
like,
kept
by the
saying,
way, your tail is a predator, son.
he
And
was like,
even
"Yeah,
even
your
before
Taylor's a
that,
predator." Like
e- even before that, that scene where the TVA agents come to his door and he's like, "Oh, I'm not a stranger to pegging or whatever,
pegging
right?"
and shit.
I'm like, bro, I'm like, what the
Even though,
fuck?
what do you say? I'm not a stranger to pegging, even though Disney is, and then looks at the camera. Bro, the
Yeah.
fourth wall breaks and this shit is fire.
And then
Oh
like you
my
had the
god.
recurring joke through there where that fat dude that worked at the TVA and shit, he was like, I see you looking whatever. He said, "Are you about to call your wife?" "I'm calling HR." "Does your wife work in HR?" Like, shout out Giants fan 101. That's a fact. It is Disney, man.
That
But
chubby
that
but
nigga,
motherfucker.
facts.
another fourth wall break that was hilarious to me was when Blade is out the top of the Odyssey with the bazooka, and they made mention
Hmm.
of Punisher. That was
How many
Punisher's bazooka or
Punishers?
whatever. And he said, "How many Punishers? Which Punisher is it? There's been so many." And he says,
He said, "There's only one.
there's
Gonna be
only one
one
blade, and
blade."
there's only gonna be one blade." And
Boy.
Deadpool looks at the fucking camera with the
Hell yeah.
yeesh. Like, I don't
Cause
think you
that
found out
Mahershala
yet.
Ali shit is in development. Hell, boy, that shit. You talk about something that we don't know if ever gonna come out or not.
Oh
That's a
man,
fact.
let's pray for the best for that because I really want to see
That
that.
shit, bro. They just keep putting out random updates, except for they not updating that the movie's gonna drop, man.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I wanted to get into the Deadpool core because I have a lot of these pictures of people that I found that was in it or whatever. So this is the golden age Deadpool. So they gave a little bit of the lore in the video that I watched. He got it. He inhaled too much mustard gas to try to keep from getting drafted, and then he ends up getting experimented by the Russian government or whatever. So that causes his healing factor.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
the last Ronin Deadpool. There's Headpool, pause if necessary. There's, well, of course, Lady Deadpool.
bad than a
There's
bitch.
Zenpool. Zenpool is actually a combination of, I think, Tony Stark, Vision, and one other person. That like all of their minds got put together by like Charles had something to do with it. I don't know, but not that one. So there's a Deadpool version that is mixed with Doctor Doom. He
That
ends
is
up
crazy.
being a villain that is super crazy. Of course, the kid Deadpool. Is that it? No.
I was
So
about to say,
this
don't
one in the
forget Wild
movie.
West Deadpool.
So look, this was actually played by Matthew McConaughey. That's who
Oh
did the
yeah.
voice for
Yep.
this one.
Yep. You are correct, sir. You are absolutely correct.
Hey,
Man, I
y'all don't
made
let
sure I
Feared
found
find
that one
out
because I
about
knew
that shit.
KTL was gonna fuck with that.
Y'all don't let Feared find out about that shit.
Oh, there was also
One more
a
thing that I wanted to point out, that something that I found. So whenever Deadpool gets put through that first little shit, gets sent to the fucking trash heap, he's laying next to this comic book, which is actually iteration of the Secret Wars comic book, and like I saw it on screen and I couldn't tell what it was, but of course the nerds is always gonna find out. So
Yep.
And that reminds me, man, motherfuckers was, the first big fight scene they do with Deadpool and Wolverine happens next to the half buried 20th Century Fox logo and shit.
fire,
You know what I'm
fire.
saying?
Oh yeah, and when they get there, Deadpool's like, "Oh, good riddance" or some shit like that.
Yep.
Hmm.
That was
Who else
funny as
wanted to
fuck.
see Dino Pool? or
Dino
Dino
Pool.
Pool. So
Dino
I think
pool.
they
What the
kind of
fuck?
Dino
already did the
Pool.
Dino version of somebody when they did it in what was it? The Spideyverse shit. So I was cool on that. I
Hey,
like the
salute
chemistry
Giants
you guys
fan
have. Hey, appreciate
101.
it, man.
Hey, did
Hey,
Hey, hit
y'all
the
like?
like, hit the subscribe button, turn notification button on so you can get notifications when we go live.
we did
Speaking
all
of
the
references,
movies leading up to this shit. If y'all want to go back and watch them, all the X-Men and Deadpool movies and shit, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Roots, I wanted
Yo,
to, address this shit. They addressed it at the start of the movie where, like, Deadpool basically says, like, how, you're probably wondering, how are we going to make this happen without desecrating the legacy, and the happy ending of Logan? He said, well, we're not. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I think. Well, first off, I'll
bro,
address the fact he was like, there's no way that's not how a healing factor works. He digs that motherfucker up, and he's just
take a
pissed. He's
pause.
like, you're looking real dead, man. You're looking real unalive. But
I ain't gonna
like
lie, like when like every movie that he just gets extremely pissed off is one of the funniest parts in the fucking movie.
he
He's
says, man,
fucking
that was
smacking
weird,
a
but I'm
dead
calm now.
Wolverine with a
Like,
shovel.
bro, he's like, man, that was really weird, but I'm calm now. I'm good. Like. But I wanted to like ask, what I'm saying, being that we just watched Logan a few days
Hey,
ago, and
appreciate it. Giants fan 101 said he subscribed. We appreciate the
hey,
subscribe,
good
brother.
shit. Being that we just watched Logan a few days ago, I wanted to know like
Mhm.
your opinion on, what I'm saying, if you feel like they should have just left the Wolverine shit alone, or if how you feel like this
Listen, bro.
affects the
I am
legacy of Hugh Jackman as the character. You know what I'm saying?
I am 100% always for fucking up the past for a new joke. So fuck all that sacred shit. But for the people who are super duper Logan fans, I mean, there was so much of the Tory told. Sorry, there was so much of the Logan story told, but it's so much that we didn't get to see. And with it being now under like 100% under Marvel or Marvel Disney, whatever you want to call it, there's so much opportunity for a better story or just a more in depth story to be told. So I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? We got a chance to see everything up until that point, and it was either bring back Hugh Jackman as Deadpool or fucking Harry Potter Deadpool, and I will take Hugh Jackman Deadpool every time.
Yo,
So
but
I'm cool with it, bro.
I gotta step
Wolverine
off real quick. Yeah,
Roots.
salute, man. I'll catch y'all.
I appreciate the pull up,
hey,
bro.
peace
All
out,
right,
Bob
yo.
Celeste. Hey,
Um,
did y'all catch some of the references in I forgot what the villain's name was, but in her throne room when they were about for the scene of the final showdown
Cassandra
when
Nova, Casanova.
there you go. There you go. Her name, whatever. Some of the references in that room. She was sitting on what the fuck is his name? His name is escaping me right now. But
Thanos,
the Thanos
Loki.
there, yeah, yeah. She was sitting on Thanos's throne room for one, and then of course the whole Doctor Strange thing that kind of just came out of nowhere.
They were paused. They was inside the like remains of Ant-Man and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So it indicates that at some point she must have met up with a version of Thanos or whatever, right? Not probably not the one that we seen on screen, but a different type of Thanos. Killed him, took his throne room, and then she also mentions that she did kill a
A
version of
version of
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange.
That is crazy, and it speaks to her character and like how powerful she is for real, for real. Like
Most definitely.
she was fucking niggas up in the film. I'm not gonna hold you for real.
about to say they had to like pull up on her with a juggernaut mask, man. And that shit.
What did y'all think about? What did y'all think about Pyro? He kind of was a little focal point at one point in
I
time,
think that
though he
like,
wasn't that big in the X-Men uh movies
I
that he
mean,
was
for
in. I
like
feel like he
two
played a bigger
movies.
part
Well,
here.
I'm about to say for two movies, he was somebody and shit. Here I think that he, got an important enough, role to play without like being too much of a focal point. He shoots that bitch in the chest and he starts going on his monologue, and Wolverine just socks him in the mouth, says everybody doesn't get a speech. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But
man.
like, he got to play his part and shit. He was a henchman though. He was a glorified henchman in this hoe.
There
But
was a lot of stuff that they pulled from other places. The caravan of vehicles, all of the vehicles stood for something or was something, whether it was in a movie or in a comic
I
book.
was about to
They
say the whole
had
shit. They
the
did like a Mad Max aesthetic. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
so they did the Mad Max aesthetic. They had the Fantastic Four Silver Surfer vehicle. They had the Red Skull vehicle, which is like a play off of the vehicle Hitler drove
Mm-hmm.
way back when. Um, there was one more that I can't remember the name of it. The motorcycles that were lined up whenever when they first pulled up. The one in the very front was the first motorcycle that
Ghost Rider.
Captain America, no, Captain America rode in the first Captain America movie.
Hey,
They
Chris
did not
Evans
show up.
definitely pulled up clean as fuck and then got smoked, man. That
Oh yeah,
motherfucker was
most definitely. He was clean as a bitch. He was definitely
that
clean as a
boy.
bitch,
That boy Pujols
and then
think
he
that
just
shit
got all
funny,
his
man.
fire taken away. Wait, what happened?
Pujols thought that shit was
Chris
funny, man.
Chris Evans pulled up so clean and got smoked. Nah, that shit was funny as fuck. Like he really got smoked in the worst way
A
twice.
man died, Pujols. Show some respect.
Oh man.
But there was one more thing.
They did the
I think
Wesley
there was a
Snipes
little.
reference where like motherfuckers wasn't thinking Wesley Snipes was gonna be in it because they heard him and Ryan Reynolds got beef ever since Blade.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't like you. He was like he never liked me.
Mm-hmm.
Glad they're
Yeah,
good.
that was dope though. That was dope to see them be able to come together for a film knowing their history. I think that this movie did a lot for a lot of things, and I can't wait for it to come out. I'm gonna watch this. This is gonna be something I watch over and over and
I was
over
about
again.
to say Laura was back roots.
Oh yeah, yeah. Laura pulled up,
Laura
which
was
I mean,
grown
that's
and
fine. I
shit.
wish she would have had a little bit more speaking parts, but I think she did exactly what she needed to do with her conversation with Logan. I thought that was super dope because they kept, they did the same thing in
Tiptoeing
this that they
around it.
did with, right. They did the same thing in this with that they did with Charles in the Logan movie, where they just kept tiptoeing around this horrible thing that they did, and so they're actually finally able to sit down and go through that story, and you get to see a more emotional side that you only get to see from Wolverine in the Logan movie. So to get to see that again and his character development and
And then it's
just
kind of
even
symbolic
though
that
go ahead.
she gets a chance to like say things from a more grown perspective that she would have liked
Mm,
to say to the Logan that died in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
right. That was definitely dope. And
Well,
I honestly I really hope they like I know they got the Blade coming up or whatever. Even if they have him play a elder person, like a person to learn from, I think that would be super dope. I definitely want to see the Gambit movie now more than before. Electric didn't get a long enough story for me back in the day, so I wouldn't be have a problem with it if they did that. Uh, what was the other one? There was another
everyone
one.
needs
They
to hit the
made reference
bookstore, read the
to
graphic novels. We got Civil War 2 coming, Secret Wars, and so much more. Doctor Doom, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Beyonders, too much to type. Shout out
oh
Cinematic Critics.
well
Cinematic Critics
with
said, haven't felt this satisfied after watching a Marvel movie in a while. I agree with this. In my opinion, I'll give my final thoughts, but like
mm,
the last time that I, thoroughly enjoyed watching a Marvel movie, this much, it was the third Spider-Man.
mm.
Oh shit. Okay.
The
You
third,
know,
like the third of the original Spider-Man.
no, what is it? No Way Home.
Oh, the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
and for a similar
well,
reason, because they were able to tie a bunch of like plot points together with like people that I have nostalgia for and care about the character
mm.
arcs of. You know,
And they starting to cheat a little bit using this nostalgic shit because it plays out on screen and they know they're playing that out on screen and they make the connection with you by making the connection with the characters on an emotional level.
who else
Having
said this was
Deadpool and
better than No
Wolverine
Way
have the
Home, nigga?
conversation that they had, uh, it might be, but just in reference to that movie as well, that having the characters make those connections in the dialogue does something for the fans. It's like they're speaking from their perspective and our perspective at the
Well,
same
we're
time.
getting to that point just as a culture, Roots. If you notice, like with everything, you know what I'm saying, video games, music, etc. We're getting to the point where it's been about 20 years or so, 15,
Mm-hmm.
20 years, and they're able to start pulling for the nostalgia shit, from us as a child and shit. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I can't tell you how many times I've seen motherfuckers use, In Sync or the Backstreet Boys and shit in
Mm.
movies, like
And it's
music and shit.
always to pull
They're
that nostalgic shit.
Yeah, and they're what I'm saying, they're doing this shit with movies. They're doing this shit with video games. You know what I'm saying? They're like remaking movies and video games that are old and shit. It's beginning to get to that point, and I don't think that it's a bad thing if they can do it well and not just rely on the nostalgia.
Roach 812 says, "Act like you haven't had a tear fall during a Marvel movie." Not gonna lie, a tear didn't fall,
Yep,
but my
but
heart
I was
dropped when
real.
Tony Stark died, bro. Like I
I
was
ain't gonna
hurt,
lie, bro. I said it on
Nah,
the
a
review.
tear
Like
definitely dropped
I
for me.
felt, I felt that shit in my chest, and I almost dropped a tear. But I was strong when at the end of Logan, Laura called him daddy and shit, man.
bruh.
Like I felt
Uh,
that shit.
I definitely shed a tear at Spider-Man, the third one. I definitely at that ending when he did that
Mm-hmm.
thing where no one would remember or know who he is and whatnot. That definitely brought a
Mm-hmm.
tear to my eye. I can't even cap.
No.
But yeah, man. uh, this is a great fucking movie, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna watch this 1,000 fucking times. Oh, one more thing, since we got a few people in here, I want to hear y'all's and the people we got watching opinion on Tony Stark, or not Tony Stark, but Robert Downey
Robert
Jr.
Downey
being brought
Jr.
back as Doctor Doom. How do y'all
I'll
feel
let
about
F
that?
Dub go first because I know he's got more to say about this than I do.
So, I like it. I like it. I think that this is another step forward into hold on, because people
It got
didn't.
tears falling.
No, I was hitting the vape too
He
hard. My
thought about
fault.
that
So,
Spider-Man scene again.
me? No, no, man. No, I'm just kidding. No. Financially, this is gonna get people in seats to the theaters, and they're definitely gonna make a shit ton of money because Robert Downey Jr. is back. You feel me? So great. So business wise, it's definitely a good move. Um, I think comic wise, I think it works. I think I
Hmm.
mentioned this in the chat that there is a comic where Tony Stark does become a Doctor Doom and whatnot. You feel me? So they can definitely use that to tie in. You feel me? So I don't think it's
Hmm.
a bad. I don't think it's a bad move at all, to be honest. And I do think it's a great way to pull the audience back into the Marvel shit because I felt like to this point, maybe certain people were getting Marvel fatigue from all these like series that they kept releasing on Disney Plus and all these other movies that some were well received than others. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Same thing with the series and whatnot. So, I think it's a good move for Marvel. You know what I mean? And it definitely started with this Deadpool and Wolverine film, and it's going to continue on further within the next 2 years and so on and so forth. So
All
that's what I
right,
got
so
to say on that.
I'll read this comment and then I'll give mine. So, cinematic critic says, "I like it and I don't like it. Really wanted Cillian
Cillian.
Murphy.
Yep.
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
So he
That's a
is the
guy from
star from
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Oh, I've never seen Oppenheimer.
But you know what the guy
Okay,
looks like. If I showed you a picture of him, you'd be
yeah.
like,
If I
"Oh,
saw
that's him."
if I see a picture, I'm probably
Cillian
know. But
Murphy, he played in a few things. I think he was also in Peaky Blinders.
Yep.
Um,
He was.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I know who you're talking about now. Got you. But he said Cillian or Murphy or Denzel Washington as Doom. I don't have a problem with Denzel. Uh, but it also can make sense if they follow that comic book that has Iron Man turning into Doctor Doom. So this kind of lines up with how I feel about it. I didn't know that they had other people. I didn't even know that this was going to be a thing. I knew that Fantastic Four was coming, but I didn't even think about who are they going to have as the villain. This is my problem with it. I understand that we've seen recasts in Marvel. Of course, Chris Evans, Johnny Storm to Captain America. You have Michael B. Jordan going from the Human Torch to Killmonger, and so many more people. But this is one that it's more the forefront person is getting moved to another forefront person. And I understand how that might be a little bit contradictory, seeing as Michael B. Jordan was one of the Fantastic Four and then went to the villain. But that was an FX movie, and then he crossed over to a Marvel movie. Same thing with Johnny Storm, crossing over into a Marvel movie from seemingly a different universe. I also feel like it's a little bit cheating because it's Robert Downey Jr. Of course, you're going to fill up seats with Robert Downey Jr. He's a
You could do
household
no
name.
wrong. You can't do no
And
wrong,
we
man.
just saw him die on screen. Like it has, how long has it been? Like what, 5 years, something like that?
Yeah,
Give or
Five,
because
take.
6 years?
Endgame was in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, that's not that long ago. So seeing him pop up again, in which we're probably still not going to get this movie till 2027 or something like that, but still,
I was about to
it's
say,
just
hold
it's.
on now, Roots, because we literally just got done watching a movie with a guy who died in 2018, 2019.
Oh well, yeah, they did they did the Chris Evans shit where they changed them and then changed them back to his
I'm not
original
talking
person.
about that. Yeah,
Oh,
that,
what
but
you
I'm
talking about?
talking about fucking Hugh
Oh,
Jackman.
Logan. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. That actually makes a lot of sense. And being that it is a thing in the comics already, it makes it make sense. So I don't have as big of a problem as like my problem with it is not as big as it may be with other people. I dig on it. Am I running to it? Not necessarily, but because I know it's Robert Downey Jr., I know he's going to do a great job. I don't think I've seen a movie where he's not good in it. So I'm cool with it.
Not only that, but
Uh,
they sorry to cut you off. Not only that, but they brought the
but
Russo brothers back to direct the next two Avenger movies, which is where Doctor Doom is gonna play a very big part. You feel me? So like that,
so,
this is a recipe for success. Is
Well,
you
they
know what I mean?
had to, like, you got to think they had to pivot. They had all these plans to do this Kang shit and whatnot, and everything that happened with that. So they've had to pivot, to get a different big bad and like some other shit to build to. So, like, my opinion is that first off, I'll never complain about a high quality actor being brought in for anything or brought back for anything. Robert Downey Jr. Helped to put Marvel, the cinematic universe on the map. So at the very least,
mhm,
like in the same way that I feel like I have no problem with Hugh Jackman getting X-Men or Wolverine checks until he dies because of his contributions. It's in the
mhm,
same way I feel like let old ass Robert Downey Jr. get as many checks as he wants from some shit that he helped bring, like make possible for all this shit. As
mhm,
far like there's a good, there is a comic reliable explanation for it. Someone's
mhm,
going like he's going to turn in a good performance. I don't, what I'm saying, like motherfuckers are getting mad about this shit, and I liken it to the fucking like I am heavily involved in like I see wrestling posts on Twitter all the time, and it
mhm,
just be the vocal minority, just like that are the most angry and bitching and whatnot. Where like they're not trying to appeal to you, they're trying to appeal to the casual fan, bro. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like the motherfuckers that have watched, like they watched Endgame and they cried because they saw Iron Man 1. So now they're going to bring it back. And somebody who hasn't watched this shit because they didn't like fucking the Eternals or, what I'm saying, the
mhm, mhm.
Marvels or whatever, they didn't like that shit. So they're going to bring back lapsed fans with this. I
Yeah,
don't,
most definitely.
like you can
Roach.
be a
Oh, go
purist,
ahead.
but, eh.
Even with being a purist, giving that it has that backstory, that reasoning, that comic reasoning, that kind of makes it okay. So at that point, if anybody that has a problem with it, that's a casual fan, I feel like that person is more okay to have an issue with it than somebody who read the comic books and you understand exactly why they're doing this shit. But Roach 812 says was a small side story in the comics, but I honestly think Feige is messing with us. Stark has to be back for Civil War 2 and eventually Secret War to fight against Doctor Doom.
Well, I
Well, I
think that
mean,
like in
they
that
they redo
scenario,
shit all the time. So
I'm
like
about
they
to,
rewrite shit all the time. Like
well, in that
Captain America
scenario,
wasn't
they
supposed to
can
grow
just
old. He was supposed to get shot in the fucking courtroom during Civil War 2. So or Secret Wars, I want to say it was. So They remix it all the time. So I
Well,
mean,
in that
it's not
scenario,
a
they could
surprise.
literally just do, multiple like Robert Downey's in the same way they did multiple Ryan Reynolds in this hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like they could definitely have like a face off between motherfuckers who are the same person and shit. We are at that point with filmmaking technology. If they want to do that, there's a possibility it could be a bait and a fake out. But I do
Mm.
think that that it's definitely possible to tell this story in that way.
You know what? If they do a fake out, it would make a lot of sense, seeing as Roach just said that he has to come back to fight against uh, Doom
Doctor
in the
Doom.
Secret War. I can see that connection. So they bring him back for that, for not to play that character, but to fight that character. That would make sense. But Roach also says Stark's consciousness gets uploaded to Jarvis upon death. We get a hologram version of his physical form, but can go into any mock suit via a network. It's gonna get awesome. Cinematic critics, I should put these up as I'm reading them. Cinematic critics says, I wonder if Marvel planned to on using Robert Downey Jr. prior to the flops of recent MCU projects, or they used him because they were like, oh man, we're in trouble. We need him right now, or we need
Well,
him now.
like
It's possible.
I don't think that it necessarily was playing out. Like I said, I think they pivoted once Jonathan Majors found himself in the midst of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I
Shout out
think
white
that
women.
like they had to. Yeah, shout out to them for real. But I think that like I love them. I think that like the like the change had to be made, and this is definitely their break glass in case of emergency type of thing. And I mean, hey, if you have like a trump card like that, why wouldn't you do it? In my opinion.
Yeah, this is definitely an emergency situation. Seeing as they were definitely banking on the rising fame of Jonathan Majors, and he was extremely promising in playing the Kang role. Seeing as you can use him in multiple different storylines at one time, he was going to get a lot of checks from this shit. Talk about getting checks from Marvel. He was about to be getting paid from three different storylines,
Hmm.
at
Mhm.
least. So,
And that's not
but
including the culmination of it, like that they'll do at the end.
exactly. So, seeing as that was just a very abrupt thing, that I
I ain't gonna
mean,
lie, dude.
honestly, if DC is gonna bring back Flash for getting drunk and saying racial slurs and getting tossed out of a bar and getting
He
arrested for that,
kidnapped a
why
bitch
not?
and ran off
Yeah,
with her.
like he literally, yes, that is ironic as fuck. But
Roots.
oh,
I heard reports that they're not going to, and that they're actually going to bring Grant Gustin.
I ain't
what,
gonna
as
lie.
Flash?
Yes.
Well, we saw him in the Flash movie. This was prior to the shit being like done. This was
Uh,
prior to the Flash movie being done that shit happened.
if
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah. Well,
Jonathan
there's that.
Majors, bro, I ain't gonna lie. That type of shit might keep me up at night, knowing that I
Yeah,
missed
no,
out
that's
on
a
that
that's a
that hefty of a
huge
That's
bag.
a
L,
huge
bro.
blow. Yeah.
Like that's like
That's
Terrence
a life
Howard saying,
changing
"Nah, I
quantity
don't
of
want to
money.
be Rhodey." Like that's that
Yeah,
level. Even probably even worse because it wasn't like he volunteered to say, "Nah, I'm cool." Like he got
yeah.
caught up in some fuck shit.
That's a life
Major,
changing amount of money and shit.
Major should have had the chance for redemption. Most definitely. And I feel like he still deserves it. Honestly,
Okay,
like
now what I
that.
will say though, what I don't like is that like some of these fuckers online that are mad about this shit, they're doing false equivalencies and shit. They're like, oh, Jonathan Majors couldn't come back for like not like the shit that he was never found guilty of, but Robert Downey Jr. got this long list of criminal offenses and this and that. First off, y'all wasn't saying none of this shit back when he was Iron Man. He had all these shits before he was Iron Man. So I don't want to hear nothing
That's a
about that
fact.
shit.
That's a
Second
fact.
off, these are criminal offenses from over 25 years ago. How long do you want to persecute a motherfucker as an actor because he smoked crack? Like, what do you,
Or
you know what
got
I'm saying?
drunk
I don't.
or smoked weed,
Wait.
like all of the things. Bro, he was a fucking junkie at one point, bro.
Yeah,
Like
like
he
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 was
was
bad
he was a
off on shit,
fucking
bro.
movie rock star. Fucking, I'm gonna do every drug that's in my closest proximity. Like that was him. There's
Like that's just
If
a false
Instagram and
equivalency,
Twitter
bro.
was popping back then, he'd have been popping up as much as Lindsay Lohan was popping up in newspapers and magazines.
That's
Like, it
just a
was really
false
bad.
equivalency, bro. Like
But it's
that's not the
still
same
mad
shit.
long ago.
Yeah, that's not
Even
the
if it's not
same
the same
shit.
shit, it's mad long ago. Like, how, again, like you just said, how long are you gonna persecute somebody for, like, nobody batted an eye when they found out, oh, Mark Wahlberg had charges for beating up an Asian man and he was a racist and da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
You still want to see him in all the movies that you've seen him in since then.
Like I say, bro, and everybody's got their own sliding scale of how they feel, about legality and things of that nature. Like these rapists and whatnot, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them get like they roll back. But you gonna try to cancel me because I did drugs that hurt my own self? That you know what I'm saying? Like that you upset that that I was drunk in public? Like that's get the fuck out of here,
Don't
man.
worry about what's in my cup. It's my cup.
That's what I'm saying.
Shout out Lil Wayne.
Robert Downey Jr. was sniffing that snow before putting on the suit. As a fact, Majors was running away from the woman as she was smacking him. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Damn,
From the visual evidence that I've seen, he seems like a victim in this whole thing.
damn, he
So I
might
mean, I
be a
don't know.
bitch. He let a woman beat him up, man. Would never happen to me.
Would you rather
Come
him
on,
use
dog.
his man strength
Come on,
on
Yeah,
the
dog.
5'4"
he got a
skinny
body
female?
slam that whole roots. I ain't gonna lie to you.
This
Oh
man,
my
I ain't seen him in Creed, but I seen enough of
I'm about to say, don't
the
put your
trailer.
knuckles, don't put your knuckles on her, but give her the old Hulk Hogan scoop slam and shit. If you have to, run the ropes and drop the big leg on her. Like,
god.
all right, man.
But
But
yeah, man,
we
I
done
think
been
we're
on this
cool.
bitch for over an hour. You know what I'm saying? Final thoughts and rating of Deadpool and Wolverine. Who want to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
Short and sweet to the point. Amazing movie. Will definitely watch again. I give it a 9 out of 10.
Same here. I definitely appreciated what they did on screen. I appreciate what, speaking of on screen, like just this shot right here, even though this is probably a bad version of it, but no, this type of shit is the reason why I wanted to see this movie. You know what I'm saying? You got the finally getting the version of Wolverine on screen that we've wanted to see for so long, getting these different variations of uh Deadpool and even the the conversation with Deadpool having with the dead core of, look guys, this multiverse shit is done. We've used it enough. The Marvel has been fucking up. The only people that got what do you say? He said the gays got it right. Uh, Wizard of Oz
He was
was the
talking
only
about the
multiverse
Wiz.
shit. Yeah, he's like, Wizard of Oz was the only one. The gays got it right. We just didn't listen to him. Like, that is what I came to this movie to see, bro. Like, that type of shit right there is what I wanted to see in this movie, and I got everything that I wanted to get from it. It's a 10 for me, bro. It's a 10 for me, and I'm gonna watch it over and over and over again. Any person that I am in close proximity to or friendship wise, you're gonna watch this movie if you haven't seen it. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna take 2 hours out of your fucking day, and we're gonna fucking watch it. And I'm gonna move on to the next person. I'm gonna watch it with them too. This is a fire fucking movie, and I'm so glad they released this. And I can't wait for what's to come for Marvel.
I'm gonna go on a bit of a diatribe here. Like I say, I think that watching these movies over the course of like 2 months or however long it's been that we watch these movies and shit, it really enhanced the experience for me. I've spoken on it on a couple of the podcasts. Like growing up, I was like Wolverine was probably my favorite superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a huge fucking Wolverine fan. I was a huge fan of the X-Men movies and Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine and shit. As soon as I found out about Deadpool and shit, when I was like wild young, I thought that motherfucker was so cool and shit. You know what I'm saying? I was looking up shit and find out shit about that motherfucker. Whenever Ryan Reynolds made the movies, I've watched them a whole bunch of times. I put other people onto them. Um, this right here, like I said, I think that they sacrificed a bit of the story to do, more with character work, and I think that's fine. I think that it's a legitimate complaint if somebody had that as their, issue. um, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I feel like, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have fantastic chemistry beyond just Deadpool and Wolverine having a great like dynamic that you could pull off in a movie. I was a huge fan of Wesley Snipes' Blade. I bring that shit up at any point that I can. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it was cool seeing Elektra. She's still a bad bitch. You got like I said, I didn't get to state it earlier. We got to see the ending of the old man Logan arc and shit, and I said that I thought it was a very fitting end because Wolverine doesn't get a happy ending. Like that. Pause. That shit is
Mhm.
him. Like he is a man who lived by violence and died by violence. But I think that, in my opinion, I don't think they desecrated that ending right there with this one. Maybe like with the fight scene in the beginning, but like the actual just bringing Hugh Jackman back and whatnot. I think that this is a chance to have a good ending and a good story for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, which I think is also an acceptable thing. I think it's nice to see. Fight scenes were fantastic. The character work was great. The story leaves a little bit to be desired. I'd probably still give it a 9 out of 10. It's not the best movie that I've seen. Not even the best Marvel movie that I've seen, but it's really high up there. And after the run of shit I have not been impressed by, this is that.
All right. Man, Cinematic Critic says I might start doing live streams and have you all on it to talk about Marvel. We'll work something out.
Hey,
Uh,
salute the bro.
I'm pretty sure a majority of us would have no problem pulling up on your shit. We ain't got no problem pulling
And
with
we
you
done
pulling up
had
on us.
supporters and viewers, pull up to the stream and talk about some shit, man. So
Most
y'all
definitely.
y'all
So
want to.
anytime y'all interested in what we talking about enough to speak on it with us, you can join the stream. We'll do a better job of putting the StreamYard link in the chat so y'all can see it. I just posted the Discord. Y'all join the Discord so we can continue to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all like the video, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification button on so that you can get notifications when we go live or when we drop any type of content. We appreciate y'all pulling up. Uh, we've the engagement since we started doing this crash course has definitely been higher, especially in the last month, and we definitely appreciate it. And we appreciate y'all watching. And thank y'all, man. See y'all next time.
You're dumb.